Meet Henry, whose life is very simple, just from job to home. There was nothing exciting in his life, and his wife also complains about it. During these talks, the door is knocked, and Henry goes and sees his friend Eddie had come outside with his other friend who was very sick. Henry's wife calls him inside the house and gives him medicine, and Eddie gets upset and says to Henry, "Dude, today was our football match. Now I don't know how we will play." Poor Eddie convinces Henry to become a part of his team, and they leave. There were other people in the car whom Henry did not know. Eddie made Henry sit on the driving seat and asked him to stop at the bank on the way. "Wait, I'll get some cash and you keep the car on." These people were wearing masks. Henry had no idea what their intentions were. The poor guy was sitting in the car and was getting confused that this car seemed to be stolen, that Eddie and his friends robbed the whole bank from behind. Poor Henry did not even know that they had made him a fool and made him commit a crime, making him their driver. When the police chased them, they themselves ran away and caught Henry in the car, who was wearing a shirt like them, and he was sitting in a stolen car at this time. The poor guy was caught without guilt. Now the police were after him. Henry, who did not know anyone other than Eddie, could not tell the police anything about the plan, and Eddie was his friend. Following the rules of friendship, he did not take Eddie's name in front of police, and thus he was sentenced to 3 years. Henry meets a bad man named Max in jail, who behaves very well with him. Max used to talk to Henry a lot. One day he tells him that all the prisoners who have come here had some dreams that they had fulfilled, but unfortunately they were brought here. He asks Henry, "What is your dream?" So Henry thought a lot and answered, "I have no dream." Max got angry and said, "What kind of life do you have? Without dreams, without motivation." Henry, who had never thought so much about himself, became silent. Days passed and 6 months passed. One day Henry's wife came to meet Henry. She told Henry that she liked someone else. Henry felt bad, but he did not say anything. He told his wife that if you want to marry him, you can do it. Only your happiness matters to me. He did not think about himself even once and release his wife. On the other hand, people ask Max, "What do you tell the police in your releasing interview that you do not go out?" Max laughs and says, "When they ask me what will you do when you go out, I tell them that I will burn a house, kill stray dogs, and wreak havoc. That's why they put me back in jail." Everyone starts laughing at him. Max says that I don't want to get out of here because this is my home. Anyway, time passes and Henry's punishment is over before time because he was very decent. Even the biggest criminal praised him. He spent his time in jail with respect. But Max told him, no matter how decent you are, but when you get out of jail, the world will consider you a criminal and nothing more than a criminal. At that time, you will understand that your life is ruined. Even after getting out of jail, Henry remembered this. He first goes to his ex-wife's house to get his stuff, and he finds out that Eddie's friend who was sick came to his house at the beginning of a movie. His wife had married him, and now she was pregnant. This boy thanks Eddie because Eddie did not take his name in front of the police, although he was also part of the plan, and in return for his favor, he offers him a good deal in business. But Henry just thanks him and leaves from here. Anyway, after a long time, he was standing in front of the bank that ruined his life. He was thinking something, and suddenly a car hit him. It turns out that there was a girl named Julie in this car who was worried about Henry's fall. At this time, the bank guard comes and supports Henry, and he takes him to a nearby cafe. The guard recognized him. The guard asked him, "Did you come back?" Henry said that my punishment is over. Here he asks Julie, "I don't know why, but you look familiar." Julie does not answer him and leaves from here, after which Henry goes to the washroom here. There was a newspaper cutting in this washroom, in which there was a bank robbery report. In the report, it was explained while showing the map of the bank, how a man entered the locker room of the bank through the tunnel on the back side of the bank and robbed the bank. This tunnel opened on the other side of the bank in a theater. Henry's mind starts thinking, and the next day, he meets Max in the jail. He gets excited and tells him that I have found my dream. He tells him that I have been robbed. If I have already been defamed to rob the bank, then why should I do this crime? Max was not able to understand Henry's words. He asks him, "Why are you telling me all this?" Henry says, "I have a great plan, and I want to include you in this plan." In the next scene, we see Henry in the theater, where he went to find out about the tunnel connecting to the bank, and there he sees Julie once again, who was rehearsing for her play. That's why the director scolds her. Julie goes to a cafe to fix her bad mood, where Henry also comes behind her. These people sit together and drink coffee. Henry praises her acting to fix Julie's mood. Julie also thanks him for not reporting the accident. On the other hand, Max applies for parole in the jail, only for Henry, and after a day or two, he comes out of jail. Henry came to pick up Max himself, without a car or a taxi. Max gets upset and tells him that I didn't come out of jail to live a life of poverty and hardship. Tell me, if you want to do all this, then I will go back to jail. Food, water, friends, everything is free there. But Henry brings him to the cafe where he saw the bank map in the washroom. Max tells him that we need to confirm whether the tunnel is still there or somewhere else. To find out, they both go to the bank. And while talking, Max cleverly finds out through an employee of the bank that the tunnel has never been closed from there. One thing to notice notice here was that the car to the bank was always on Henry. After that, they go inside the theater to see the tunnel again. And in the theater, Julie kisses Henry one more time. She asks him, "Are you following me?" And here, Max comes and saves Henry and says, "No, I used to be a theater artist before, and I have acted in many plays of Shakespeare. I have a lot of memories with this theater. I just came to visit it." Julie agrees and sends her assistant to visit the theater. Max goes to see the theater with Julie's assistant. And here Henry and Julie start talking. Julie asks Henry, "What do you do these days?" So Henry tells her, without lying, that I have just come out of jail. Julie asks, "Have you committed a murder?" Henry says, "No, it's a long story. I'll tell you later." Here we see that Max finds out that the tunnel is connected to the green room of the theater, and he had to secure that green room to dig that tunnel. But Henry didn't have such a plan. When Max was discussing this plan, Henry was only worried about one thing. How is he looking? Because today, he was going to have dinner with Julie. Max says with a smile, "You look the same as you always look during dinner." Julie says that I want to be a very big actress. And when she asks Henry about her dream, Henry tells her clearly without fear that his dream is to rob a bank. Julie is shocked and asks him why. So today, Henry tells her the whole story of how he went to jail even though he was innocent, and he punished his friends. And now that he's become famous as a bank robber, he has thought that why not actually rob a bank? Julie was shocked at both his intentions and his personality. On the one hand, he had such dangerous intentions, and on the other hand, he had such a soft personality that he told everything to Julie. Julie really likes his honesty. They spend the night together. And as soon as morning comes, Henry comes to Max's house with Julie. As soon as Max comes, leaving the washroom, he starts explaining his plan that how these people will enter the bank. But as soon as he comes out, he is shocked to see Julie. So Henry tells him, "Max, tell him the truth. Julie already knows everything." Max was also a little angry about how he had told such a secret thing to someone else, i.e. Julie. Anyway, Julie advises him that to stay close to that tunnel, it is necessary to come to the theater every day. So why don't you guys do one thing? Keep auditions there. But Max says no. The room we want is the green room of the hero of your play. He finds out that everyone was already very upset because the main actor of the play, i.e. the hero, had run away from a play because he was getting a better offer from somewhere else. At this time, Max tells Henry to act, who did not even know how to act. But under Max's pressure, he also starts giving auditions here. And seeing his acting skills, these people also keep him as a hero. Later it turns out that all this plan was actually made by Max, not Max. But the hero had run away from here by getting another offer from somewhere else. And after knowing this, Julie gets very angry. Anyway, now by doing this, they had access to the green room. But after working for a few days, they find out that it is not possible for them to dig this tunnel alone. That's why they go and meet Joe, Henry's ex-wife's husband, who was involved in a robbery with Bad. He tells Joe, "Why do so much work? Pick up a gun, go and do the robbery." Then Henry tells him, "I am not a fool like you." Anyway, these people keep working together on their plan to rob a bank. And at the same time, we see that Henry's interest in acting had increased a lot, not because he wanted money or he wanted to stay in the theater, but because he wanted to change his life, and he was enjoying acting and living with Julie. One day we see that after digging for a long time, these three are leaving the theater and a guard of the bank catches them from behind. He stops them and sits in their car, looking at Henry. He says, "I remember you were with those robbers when the robbers robbed the bank, and this time I won't let anything go wrong." These people get scared and ask the guard, "What do you want?" The guard tells him to keep driving at a deserted place. The guard stops the car and says, "I am with you. I want to rob the bank." Hearing this, all of them get shocked and ask him why. Then the guard says that I have served in this bank for 30 years. Some time ago, my wife fell ill. When I asked for help from the bank, they refused to help me. They didn't give me insurance money, and so my wife died. After a month, I am going to retire, and I want to take my revenge from the bank. He further improves their plan. He tells the date and time on which cash comes in the bank. The thing that brought everyone to their senses was that the guard had told that on that day, there's a cash of about 100 core dollars in the bank. I have told you the time. Apart from this, if you ever loot, I will consider you a fool. The guard tells him that I can help you from inside the bank by disabling the camera so that you don't get caught later. Anyway, the next day comes, and it is shown in the theater that the director was still not satisfied with Julie's performance. He tells Julie that you can't react to this love because you have never loved anyone. If your heart had broken, these emotions would have been inside you, and until your heart doesn't break, you can't be a good actress. Julie's heart breaks, and she goes to her room and starts crying. Henry comes to her and asks her what happened. She tells him that she has never loved anyone, but she wants to be a good actress, and she is working hard for it. Henry comes to her and says that you don't know. You love someone, but you don't know yet. You just couldn't express it. And the day you find out, you will become a good actress. Anyway, it's night, and we see Henry at Max's house, where they were discussing their final plan. A lot of preparations have been completed, and that day was near when they had to rob the bank. They were talking about how their door gets locked, and it is seen that Joe Joe, and Eddie had also come here who had trapped Henry at the start of the movie. He comes to him in a bossy attitude and says that I know your entire plan, and now I am a part of this plan. Max gets up in anger and says, who are you, idiot? So Eddie also says in anger, keep your voice down. I told you that I am a part of this plan, and I know everything. In anger, he slaps Max, Eddie, and before their fight progresses, Henry comes in between and stops all this fight. Anyway, the next day they come to theater and find out that the play they were rehearsing was also the same day they had planned to rob from a tunnel from where they were taking out the soil. Henry comes and says to Max, I don't think I can do all this. I don't want to leave Julie because I have really started loving her. As soon as Max hears this, he gets very angry. Max teases him and says that you got me out of jail for this nonsense. My life was going on well there. He says that I spent all my life in jail for the allegations of ood painting. And now when I have started doing a real crime, the same day they will rob the bank, and then he will leave everything and go away. He was also telling Julie to come with him. But Julie, with whom he was acting, was not ready to leave her play. Hearing this, Julie gets very angry and says that if you had to go and deceive me, then why did you promise me love? You just used me to go inside the theater. Yes, it's my fault. It's my fault that I trusted a thief like you. Julie was completely broken, and Henry had left after hearing all this. Finally, now the day had come when he had to complete his plan. On the same day, his truck had also come to bank. We see that Henry was ready all day and had come for the play. He performs very well in the play, and whenever he needed it in the tunnel, he used to go there and help in the loot. We see that Eddie had cut the iron wall of the tunnel using a welding machine. The guard had already disabled the CCTV cameras and alarms here. The people were now comfortably in a lockdown from here without Julie. He realized that he couldn't live without Julie. Julie tells Henry that you are bleeding. Henry says, leave it, just listen to me. I want to tell you that I can't live without you. They don't keep any money in mind for me if they'll dim the lights, and ask Julie to respond to all this.